We are in a van.
In a van. Doing a podcast in a van.
That's right. So we're recording. We're quasi live.
Quasi live. We're live for right now.
Right.
Right.
So this is amazing. This is pretty cool. We're in a van. We just mentioned that.
Thanks for coming all the way out here to the van, man. I'm doing this on the on location sort of thing.
Yeah, trying to do some new stuff, trying to get out and about and bring the podcast to the people instead of sitting in my damn house and being all dreary all the time, man. It's getting old.
Well, you got this cool video that'll show up in a new setting, of course. We don't know how that's going to come out with the lighting. It is a van, of course.
Right. But I think it's going to be good.
Instagram-esque.
It's going to be what it is. It is what it is.
We were going to do it in the kitchen, but we figured the living room would be the better spot here.
Yeah.
In the van.
Right. So give us a little rundown on the van. Let's just start there. Let's just jump right into the van since that's what where we're at.
Well, it's pretty cool. It's something I built from scratch. It's a 1984 Dodge B250 van, and I picked it up from a local junkyard for $300, man. It was really cool. Something that I just scored before the end of its life, I guess. And I decided I was going to build a mini tour bus. So that brings me sort of like, this is the manifestation of that dream, I guess.
Right.
Within my means, you know.
But it's not a touring bus at the moment.
It sure isn't. It sure is not that. It is everything but that. But it sure has I built it up from scratch, man. This was a raw metal shell when I brought it home, and it was bright red. Maybe we'll post some pictures of the outside, but it's blue now, and I did all of this with mostly materials from junkyards or Lowe's.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and if we can get some video, that'd be awesome. I'll put that up in the post or whatever, so people can see where we are.
Yeah,
the inside and out.
It's pretty cool. The only downfall to this is that I can't stand up. I mean, I've got just about everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you could always expand the roof, right? I mean, people do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I may enjoy it and take it out some places and then clean it up real good and give it to someone else to do the same with, and pick up maybe a Sprinter van or something more practical.
Right.
They got some pretty mean utility vans available nowadays.
Were there seats back here?
Yeah, when I got this, it was, like I said, completely empty. There were no seats. There were just these big metal, like where the seats would have mounted.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I mean, I gutted everything. There's one spot here, and the floor actually has a lift, and that's because I couldn't remove it was like an integral part of the van just for a table that initially came in the van. But I guess this would have been set up for like big pillow seats. You would have been able to sit like 8 people, you know. And I made it now. This behind us is a fold-down twin XL bed. The whole thing comes down. It's tall enough for me. I'm 6'6", so I want to say it's just shy of that. I made these like, you hear that nice satisfying thud there, but
yeah,
these are guitar necks that I made into bed legs.
Shit,
to hold the weight, man. It actually is pretty cool. These are old seat belts from a GM van I picked up. So I guess in Dodge world it's a little blasphemy, but
right. But what did those serve a purpose?
Yeah, they're holding up the.
Oh, that's what's
right
holding
now.
it up. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So
that's super cool.
Like I said, the mattress. I took the mattress out for now, just so we had some extra space. This sort of sits at an angle.
Yeah, I remember.
There, but
remember you showing me a picture of that kind of 45, or not 45, but like a 20 degree.
Without the mattress, I'd say it's about perfect when it comes up to this line. But I use like a 6-inch foam mattress, so I've got these studio speakers built into the wall here. I could go on about this thing in detail, man. It's like a Swiss Army van.
Well, I mean, that's why I came out here to the van. I want to know all about it.
It's I've got these M audio speakers so that I can practice my songwriting here in the van. Plug right up to an XLR port I installed on the accessory panel there.
Right. And that's not operable yet, or?
Yeah, I mean the speakers and everything works, but instead of using the XLR input right now, I've just got cables that come out because I haven't cut and spliced them for the port.
Right.
But yeah, I mean running water, fully insulated.
Right. Toilet. You said a shower off the back.
Yep, a little shower out the back. It's all low pressure water stuff, but I've got a 10-gallon container here.
But you wouldn't even need that, right? You could do like a gravity fed. They have those camping gravity fed showers that you can buy.
Oh yeah, like black bag showers. Pretty much. It heats up because of the bag being black. That's a pretty cool idea. And I should have one of those on deck. I don't right now, but that would be a smart way of saving my. I've even seen people paint like take big long PVC pipes with caps on the ends of them, paint them black, fill those with water, and leave them on the roof. And that would be your heated water with a valve at the end.
Yeah.
And that's a smart idea, but it's a lot of weight on one side of the roof of your van.
True. And it only works if you're somewhere where it's hot, I guess.
Right, or you just have hopefully warm enough water
Yeah.
in this thing, yeah.
But I mean, if you're living in the van, I think hot water is probably the least of your worries, I guess. But
I guess. Well, I mean, some people, this lifestyle to some degree is choice filled, in that it is a good way of learning how to moderate what things you need and what things you don't need. I've learned a whole lot just trying to, like, given you start with nothing, you add things as you need. Like I've got a little wristwatch here that I use as a wall clock because it's not even at the right time right now, just to say. But yeah, I just did this to train my mind to live humbly. That way, when I have my, perhaps a mansion or something in the future, I'll be like nice, spacious areas with just the things that I need. And I think that is a beautiful thing.
And what are you running everything off of?
Right now, I've got it to a shore power, they call it, which is a hard line to something installed outside. But I do have 2 deep cell batteries on deck. That'll give me about 40 hours running my lights, speakers, charging my phone, laptop. And I've got some cool accessories like a wireless amplifier for the guitar, so I can keep all that separate. And that runs like 15 hours. But 40 hours is fair. When I crank it up, it recharges the batteries again.
Right.
And the plan is at some point to get 100 or 200 watts of solar just to
That was my next
keep
question.
it real. A good solar panel, I guess, isn't as expensive as it used to be, but they're still not, nickels and dimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a television here that is pretty cool. I guess unplugged at this time, but I can hook up my Netflix or do my work and things from the bed. It's pretty cool, man.
And I know it's kind of inoperable at the moment, like stationary, but you've taken it somewhere, right? Didn't you go somewhere in it when you first got it?
Well, like I said, I built it from junkyard stuff, so I drove it around Somerville for a little bit and encountered some pretty dumb issues with the exhaust. I was sort of asphyxiating in the van, and
Ooh, that's not good.
no, it was not good. And that's one of the reasons I just kind of taken my time with it. I want to make sure that things are good and safe and things like that for me to, it's easy enough when it's stationary to live in it and be healthy enough, but to be moving and I don't know, you don't want to sleep in a cabin filled with noxious gases.
Well, speaking of gas, do you do anything with propane too, or is it just all battery
No,
powered?
it's all electric because of, I carpeted everything, so I figured that maybe it would definitely burn real quick. But
Yeah, I was just talking carrying around one and in a cooker or something where you could take it outside the van and cook food or whatever.
On my list is there's a door back here. I'm going to build like a fold up table so that when the doors open, I could have like a gas, a little propane or alcohol grill or something like that. But
right, maybe just the tiny propane.
The reason I have electric for the most part now, being in this small space, is that it doesn't emit as many gases when I'm cooking something just electric than propane. I'm sure it wouldn't be that bad. I've got vents and things, but just not something I've done yet. It works out pretty well though to cook in here, basic things. I don't have an oven or whatever, but I have a little like Bunsen burner kind of single griddle thing. Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty neat. It's been about a year in progress. It's more of a piece of art at this time than,
Right, a functional transportation
Well,
piece.
you don't have to keep pointing out that it isn't functional. That's terrible.
No, I said functional transportation.
It's true. I mean, I ended up building a living space before I focused on, the functionality of the thing. But once I get that, it'll be. It's really cool, man. I study a lot of these vans online, and I think I built a cool one.
You absolutely did.
Yeah.
I mean, I want one. I've wanted one since I was like 15 years old.
It'll look better on like a hillside or something though than right here,
Yeah.
But it's not that.
But I grew up with these, year vans. I grew up in the 80s and stuff, so I saw these conversion vans all over the place, and I was always like, man, I would love to live in a conversion van.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
The idea eventually is that, I don't want to spend $1,000 a month helping someone else pay for their space, and that was something I'm really adamant about. Maybe it's pride, but so I just thought that if I had this, it would be something I own. It would motivate me to go and travel. The nature of my business being a musician is some of that would be travel in the future. And I could just get some land somewhere to call my own and park there until I build a home, dig a well and do those things in a sort of order of operations. And
I think you told me that at one point, right? That your plan was to travel like cross country all the way out to California and stop in little towns and maybe do some band sessions or something, pull local musicians in and do some stuff with local guys.
I think I'll do an East Coast thing first and meet some people up that way and through the mountains, and then if this vehicle does well, then I'll push it the other direction towards the west. But if you never know what to expect out of an '84 van until you know what you've put into it. But
right, yeah, I got an '83 car that is very unreliable at the moment as well.
You're like, I know this isn't going to go bad because I fixed it or this, but I have no idea what.
What's the next thing?
But yeah, I want to do that and make some friends that way, and buy some land here nearby the Low Country, just so that I can have a place to be close to. Supporters that help me be inspired to go travel and build a freaking van. Otherwise, I'd probably still be turning wrenches in a mechanic shop, and which is ironic, right? Because of the non-functional van. Yeah, so I would have probably been doing that still if I wouldn't have had people motivating me to play music and be creative and help others who were trying to do the same.
Very cool.
Yeah, man. What do I have in my hand?
Let's talk about it. We're going to open a beer. This is loosely a craft beer show still. We open a beer every episode and talk about it. So we're drinking a Guayabera, I guess that's how you say it, from Cigar City Brewing Company. It's a pale ale. It's 5.5% ABV. It's got 50 IBUs, and let's see what the description is here. Traditional throughout Latin America, the Guayabera shirt combines style, functionality, form, and tradition in its four-pocketed design. We at Cigar City feel the same reverence and appreciation for the Guayabera that we do for the Citra hop varietal, an ingredient that imparts notes of tangerine, lime, and berries to this traditional American pale ale. The exclusive use of Citra hops in this beer creates a flavor that's at once unique and recognizable, while its dry, crisp character and moderate alcohol make it as refreshing and functional as a crisp linen Guayabera.
And there are actually like beautiful images of t-shirt sort of things going on.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had no idea it was actually named after a t-shirt. But so yeah, you said you wanted something kind of refreshing and crisp and a pale ale, so
let's do it, man.
We found. So we'll open that up.
Excellent.
I didn't travel with any glassware, so
cheers.
Cheers to the van.
I tell you, van life isn't quite what Instagram says it is either.
What does Instagram say to?
You haven't seen all those images of like these beautiful vans from these wonderful angles, make it look like you have so much room. Everybody's stuff's so tidy.
Right.
Yeah, it didn't necessarily work out that way, at least not for me.
Yeah.
And this is refreshing.
It's very good. I've had it once before, or a couple times before, but it's been a long time since I've had this guy. So I saw it, and it was on sale. I said, "That's the beer, man, right
That's
there."
the type, right?
That's
on
the
sale.
One. And it is very good.
Yeah, dig it. Thanks.
No problem. We'll tag those guys. Try and give them some love down there in Florida. That's where they're from. I believe it's Tampa. Let's take a look real quick here. Yeah, Tampa, Florida. That's where Cigar City Brewing is. So
that's what it's about, man.
I'll get down there one day and check those guys out personally. But
you gotta tag your features.
That's right. So let's just jump right into it, man. Speaking of music, you just did something recently, right, with the news? What was that, Live 5 or what?
No, so Fox 24 actually,
Fox.
locally, it was WTAT Charleston. We got to, by we I mean me in some sort of strange, distant way. I went in and talked a little bit about a new release of an EP called Wait that I did. I released that on October 25th, 2018. And I played one of the singles from that song called Middle, or from that album called Middle, and it was a cool opportunity. Charleston has lots of different outlets like that are reaching out to people like me to showcase. It's just a matter of, messaging those people and inquiring. So I hit a friend up at Fox 24 and let them know I had this release coming out, and went up there and plugged it a little bit. Got to put a nice little banner, tell people to subscribe, download the thing. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all of those sorts of things, even Napster, MySpace.
Napster?
MySpace. What is this? What year is it now, huh?
So repeat that again. Spotify.
It's Spotify, Google Play, iTunes. It'll be on Bandcamp. I say it'll be. I've got to convert a file before I put it on there, but yeah, it's everywhere, man. You can download it. You can stream it. And that album is called Wait. That's my third public release, so that's cool.
Very cool. And that was October 25th, you said.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fresh.
Yeah, very
Yeah, I've been
fresh.
listening to it on Spotify, as a matter of fact, and I love it.
Excellent.
Very
man.
cool. It's a little different sound than what I'm used to hearing you play live, because you've incorporated some other elements into it, right? Did you have somebody play with you? Or?
Yeah, well, what's cool about, in my opinion, recording an album is, like, I am known for being a solo artist and doing the acoustic thing locally where, you know, you are limited to the sounds of an acoustic guitar and what the human vocal can do. And I'm not going to say I'm some adventurous vocalist, but usually when I play live, I maybe have the tapping of my guitar to help accompany it, but I reached to a friend of mine, John Baldwin, here in Ridgeville. He has a studio in the middle of just this wooded area, actually, where this van's parked now. And we did all of those sounds by organic instruments, things he had built, things he had around, things I had around. So within that album, I want to say there were probably over 15 instruments, and he and I each played all of them. So
Did I hear a kazoo on one of them?
a kazoo was on
Kazoo,
Mud.
yeah.
The kazoo was on the first album. We actually didn't have that on the second one, but we had like a glockenspiel. There's of course bass and drums, and there's a bass kalimba that John Baldwin made. I did some slide guitar work. It was really fun, man. And I think it shows that it kind of has this organic vibe to it. It's very honest, and it's we live in a world where music's very perfect, or at least it tries to be perfect. And that album was just another attempt at bringing songs forth in an organic way, and I like doing it that way because John sort of put forth his interpretation in what he heard, and like you said, it comes across in all sorts of different sounds, you know.
Yeah, there was one, and I guess it does shuffle because I don't have a Spotify account. So when I shuffle play that album, it plays all your other albums too. So
Yeah,
that's
I gotcha.
so I guess that one song was different. But yeah, there's one that sounded like it had rain in the background or something. How'd you get that sound?
Yeah, man, there were so many days that I would go over there. He has this marvelous rain stick. It's pretty much just a cactus with the needles inverted, and it's got some beans or some sort of corn or something in it. But it makes a really good rain sound. We add a little bit of chorus and reverb, and to make thunder, we actually took some sheet metal, like tin metal, and cut a piece when it's out, and we're just shaking it, emotionally or whatever to make it sound decent.
Yeah.
I made some rooster sounds.
So you did all these pieces separately, and you spliced them all together for the most part.
The unique thing I think about weight, which was something that was important for me to do, was I recorded it just like I would at a show. So what you're hearing is just me sitting down with the guitar in front of a microphone, exactly like it would at a show.
Right.
And then over top of that file, we added things like the drums or the rooster or whatever the sounds may have been, so in layers over top of that. But that allowed me to release an acoustic version of the very same album, which is exactly what you hear in Weight without all the extra weight. You know what I mean? It's just being, again, bare bones vocal and guitar. So it allowed me to do both releases, one much more affordably than the other, of course. So.
Okay. And this guy, is this a studio other people can go to and do recording, or is it just a friend of yours that has a house studio? I mean, can other artists seek this guy out?
Yeah, he's an aspiring engineer. He's got a lot of other things going on in life, but he is an aspiring engineer. He's very good, and he's naturally talented at this, in my opinion. But you can reach out to him at John Baldwin Sounds online. I'm sure we can put a link in the description, but he's very talented, man, and he plays more instruments than I think he's shown me yet. Yeah, I think he does work with musicians of all sorts, and he works out of his little home studio with the items that he's got and collected over the years, you know. In fact, he's on a bicycle trip, a 3-month bicycle trip right now up the East Coast.
Nice.
That he just left the day he gave me the master of this album. He was like, "All right, sir, farewell." And he jumps on this bicycle with like 2 PVC pipes and a bunch of like backpacks, and he's just like off in the sunset, this guy, you know.
That doesn't sound like a bad deal either.
No, man.
I'm adventurous. I'd love to do something like that, or take the whole Appalachian Trail on a bike or something. I want to run the Appalachian Trail actually all the way up to Maine, but
I guess you got lots of life, man. That seems like a long trip, a 3-month trip on a bicycle, but ultimately, what's 3 months? I guess if you have the will to do it.
Right.
I'm not sure. I'm ready for that, to be honest. No, I might sit my ass in this van.
Yeah. Yeah, especially not right now, right? I mean, the weather's changing, but
he's there now. I feel for him, man. He's like, he brought himself like these thermal aluminum coats or whatever they are to keep cool or to keep him warm, rather. And
So he's just camping. He's not stopping out of hotels or any of that stuff.
Now, I have no doubt that he has some sort of an emergency. Like, if it gets bad, he can
Sure.
make it happen. But yeah, he's roughing it, dude. He didn't bring much to cook with. He's eating raw foods, and
Yeah.
he's been training his mind for this for a while. So
Sounds very cool.
yeah, cheers to that.
Let's go back to we kind of got off track, I think, on the Fox News thing. So
Yeah, Fox News had me up and just talked very briefly about this album, which again is called Wait. It's on Spotify and iTunes, and you can stream that or download it. And I'll have CDs available soon.
did you get any traction off of that showing on Fox?
Sure, a little bit. It's I uploaded it to YouTube. I have a channel there, and
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it before I came over, but
yeah, there's probably a few extra subscribers or so. I worked that out. That's really one of my main focuses now, is trying to achieve subscribers on YouTube. So while you're checking out Craft Conversations, definitely jump over to my page and subscribe there as well.
and that's Joshua Jarman Music. Is that the page still?
Yeah, you should just be able to type in Joshua Jarman and find it that way, but the word music always boosts the ability to jump right to it, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. There was a movie in Australia called Josh Jarman in 2007 or something, so I'm really trying to beat that out on this Google.
Yeah. I think I did see something like that when I typed it in. Yeah, because I definitely went on YouTube and checked out a few things, but I didn't subscribe though. I got to hit that. I got to hit the
Yeah, I mean,
subscribe button.
The subscribe thing is cool because, I hate to say that it's almost like collecting names, but the more subscribers you have and the more activity you have on your page, the more relevant it becomes and pops up on,
Sure.
on the thing. So I have another friend of mine who is a gamer on, I don't even know too much about it to tell you, but he makes somewhat of a career of playing games professionally. Wow. What's going on? Hold on, I've ruined everything with the loud ringtone.
No, it's fine. Happens, man.
So anyway, he plays professional video games, and he's been running some of my music on the background while he's doing his thing, and he's got it's just screen caps of him playing and people talking to him and him chatting with people. So stuff like that really helps, piggybacking off one another and fitting in where you get in,
Yeah. You said you knew somebody at Fox, so that's always a good thing to have friends in
It's true.
low places and high places, I guess.
Yeah, business acquaintances are always nice, for sure.
Yeah. I know my roommate, Tom, you know him, plays with Blue Spear and Scotty Oliver Band. They just had a write-up in the Journal Scene, so that was pretty cool. I'm trying to get into some of those things too, man. I don't know who I got to talk to, but
Well, man, I think it's just a matter of reaching out. I just had a small feature in the Charleston City paper, online, not in the actual paper, but
Right.
just by sending an inquiry saying, this is what I'm doing, these are the check marks I'm trying to hit. If there's any way that we can collaborate, it'd be great to, drop your name as you drop mine, more or less.
right.
And, sometimes they'll bite. They'll check out where you're at and see what's worthwhile for them, I guess, in the same way that you would. And you really be surprised when you hear back from them. Sometimes I did the same thing with endorsements. I reached out to some different products pertaining to music and just tried to see if not to score free gear, but just to post their logo next to mine so that it looks more like a NASCAR race. You get all the sponsors, and they're like, "Wow, that guy,"
Yeah.
Sponsorship doesn't quite work like in NASCAR. I'm sure there are a lot more money going on there than with me, but. I picked up a capo company endorsement with Shove Capos and a string endorsement, and that hooks me up with some mild to pretty major discounts, which is good.
Yeah.
You just got to reach out, man. There are lots of opportunities to be had, especially in the low country in Charleston. I think that there are people all the time reaching out more to offer whatever it is they do to, upcoming people, like small business owners and musicians, entertainers.
Yeah. So what's your day job right now?
Right now, I've been compiling a whole lot of stuff online because I don't have I'm not working anywhere now. I'm just compiling things for my own business. I own a small business called Wings Back Entertainment. It's a limited liability company, and what I'd like to do with that is help out local musicians pretty much by meeting the people who will get them to the next point in their career, somewhat like a middleman, if I could. If I could introduce so-and-so who I meet at an open mic to a videographer, or photographer, or someone like you does a podcast, I can help them get boosts on their social media and get wherever it is they're going in their career. But that's sort of what I've been focusing on now, and right now it isn't a huge monetary yield, but I think that I'm setting up some pretty cool dominoes for that. I'm starting a blog spot now called Wings Weekly, And Wings Weekly is going to be a weekly effort to showcase an independent songwriter or musician and give them 7 questions of a questionnaire to try to get to know them a little better, see what they're about. Just hoping that can help bring the community together, and of course starting in Somerville and Charleston. Yeah.
Right. It is all about connections. I mean, really. And all these different social media platforms is the bread and butter these days. I mean, if you can't get out there and properly advertise and promote yourself on social media, you just don't reach anybody these days.
There's so much connection, you kind of get lost in the connection. It's almost
That's
like,
true too.
Yeah, you're almost unseen again because there's so many people out there trying to be seen.
Yeah.
So it is cool for me, like as a songwriter, of course, I know those difficulties and what it's like to, be overwhelmed with playing the gigs and trying to book the shows and trying to shake the hands and, smile when you just got done playing a blues song or whatever the case may be. It's a whole lot to do as one person. So while I can't be full-time helping everybody, I like to try to help whatever musicians I can along the way. And as a publishing company, I hope to pick up some musicians to work a little more closely with in time,
Sure.
But there's lots of people who just want to, a producer needs a musician in order to have a job. So they just need to know who the good ones are, and maybe it takes someone to vouch. And if I can help someone get, quote, their wings back, then I will.
Oh, very nice. I like that.
Yeah, man.
I like that you're trying to get back to the other guys and not just make it all about yourself, which, it is kind of about you, but...
Well, I understand that it has to be to some degree in order for the Joshua Jarman brand to make it out there as a musician, but ultimately I really don't care much for the idea of my name being there. It's just a likeness I'm trying to, I hate to say market by, but that's exactly what I mean. So this company is an effort of me just showing where my heart truly is. While I have to use my name, some people misconceive that as being really a conceited sort of thing, where it's just what I have to offer as a name for my business, which is an art you can't see. I don't have, that's my product, is some sort of formless thing. You know what I mean? I have to call it something. I guess I could call it some sort of like iron butterfly, but I bet that's been taken.
Oh, I'm sure that's been taken.
Yeah, So yeah, it's a happy balance there, but this gives is a good way for me to keep not only my mind clean, but just help other musicians, help them attach a name. It looks really good if a publishing company is vouching for you and giving you an interview. So I might be a small publishing company, but it took small companies helping me get to the larger companies that I've obtained, at least by now. So why not be one of those?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll go somewhere. Maybe one of these artists will blow me out of the water and be like, a really desirable artist. I can help them get to wherever it is they got to go. That means so much more, I think, to me than just watching the name Joshua Jarman get all tainted and weird. And
sure, and it all comes back to you in the universe, right?
I think ultimately, yeah. And it's funny, man. The more that I do this, and the more I really do my best to keep, keep my motivation and devotion in the right spot, strange things happen to a man's name, especially when he uses it as a product.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, but I got some people now who misunderstood or confused me for another fellow, and are just bashing my name, block me on social media, won't hear any rebuttal to it.
Wow.
It's quite interesting for sure. Yep, the thrills of being a musician.
Yeah. Now you're doing all this stuff with other artists and stuff, and I know every time I've seen you, you've just been solo. Do you collaborate with anybody? I know you did with this for this album, but as a normal rule of thumb, do you go out and play with other people?
I'm definitely open to it. I'm self-taught, so I have to admit, while I know my songs very well, and I know, if you know what I mean, but it's difficult for me to jump in with a musician and then be like, we're playing in this time signature, this key, because unfortunately I'm not that learned all the time. So sometimes it works out really well. I know that you had Paul Stone on here, and he and I had the opportunity to jam after a gig at Homegrown recently, and it was just a lot of fun, man. It's so cool to see what other people bring out of you. And it was important for me to learn to do the solo thing, because I played with a band for several years, and once that fell away, it was kind of like a shock. You stand in front of people by yourself, and then every time you make a mistake, there's this emptiness, and everybody's, I don't know, drinking more or drinking less, whichever one's worse. Yeah. I don't know, but I play well with others. collaborations are a really cool thing, and I'd love to do a whole lot more about with those. I know that there are some musicians around town I've met that I just think we would create a really cool sound together, and that has nothing to do really with my career or their career. It's just a matter of like what music would come about if we jammed together. So if there are any artists out there listening, definitely hit me up. We'll do some collaborations, or I can offer some cool guitar samples for you, or whatever the case may be.
Right. Yeah, that night at Homegrown was very cool. I mean, there was nobody in there, so there was nothing else to do but just kind of jam with whoever was there,
Yeah,
I think. But
why not? Those are like the gems, you know. If there were two people there, that's like a treat.
Yeah.
You never know what
it
happens.
was a treat for me for sure. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
And got some cool video out of it as well. But
I got some pretty cool shows coming up the next couple months here. We sit it's October.
yeah, November 2nd this will come out. So I was going to ask you that eventually.
Yeah.
What you had coming up after
Well,
this
my
thing.
bad.
This thing releases on November 2nd, this Friday. So
After November 2nd, I've got the first thing that jumps into my mind is December 29th. I want to say. Let me check my robot here and make sure. But
and while you're doing that, you're still doing the open mic at Coastal every other week, correct?
Yep, every other week I do an open mic segment at Coastal Coffee Roasters from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And Chris Rinkin hosts on the alternative weeks, so there's definitely more than enough opportunity to, well, hear your sound as mixed by two different sound engineers, which is kind of cool. That particular show I was referring to, the big one is going to be on December 29th at the American Legion in Goose Creek. We're hosting a show called Home for the Holidays, like D-A-Z-E. Home for the Holidays is an effort. It's a charitable effort, and we've got several different bands on the roster. I think Salty Ray is headlining. If you haven't heard of Salty Ray, man, they're this really cool girl-fronted rock group. They're just very, very good, very talented. Salty Ray, they're called. And we got Ben Somewhere. I'll be performing a set there. I think we have Dirt Pot that'll be there playing some rock metal music.
Oh yeah, I love those guys.
They're fun, man. Just lots of energy.
Yeah.
And
very Black Sabbath-esque, I think.
It's exactly what that sounds like. But December 29th, Home for the Holidays at the American Legion in Goose Creek. Definitely come out there. I think it's like 6 hours of music. It might even be like 5 hours of music. So mark that on your calendars. Aside from that, I personally am playing a Shucking on the Cooper December 8th from 5:30 to 8. And that's another cool low country event. You can go out there and get some oysters and hear some music by me. I'm actually going to have some Christmas tunes prepared to play there, which is not my forte, but I'm really delighted to play these. I've been practicing, and I hope that comes out good.
I do remember seeing something about that, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Or you had asked a question of what were some good tunes to play or something like that, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the only Christmas or holiday tunes I know are the like extreme traditional ones, you know, that everybody knows. Like, I'm going to do some Little Drummer Boy and try to feature some of my percussive playing and just meld some new things together. But holiday music was never something I listened to often. But of course, you know the songs. Like the melodies are just so good; they're burned into our minds. I think.
Right.
You know.
And a lot of people, I know people have asked you this question all the time. As a matter of fact, Paul asked you this question when we were at Homegrown that night. But when you're out playing solo, it's all just you, right? I mean, it's you and a guitar. You don't have any kind of loop pedals or any kind of extra stuff thrown in there. It's just you and the guitar, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Martin DX series guitar. It's like a 2014. I won in a competition, and a microphone and myself. Any drums or percussion you hear in the live setting usually is just done by all in one shot. I'm hitting the guitar in a percussive way, and that's about it. I mean, I have dabbled a little bit with a looper, but not publicly. So anytime I'm out playing, yeah, anything you hear is just me, one shot.
Yeah, there's so many sounds coming out of that thing. I mean, you got, obviously percussion, you got guitar, you got vocals. Maybe even a little bass kind of gets thrown in there somehow with the guitar.
Yeah, I guess I have a pretty unique style of being self-taught that I've been able to fall into. You know, just sort of my own approach to the tool. Like I said, it's an inspiring instrument, and looking at it, you can tell. Like I've definitely scarred it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think we may have asked you this on the you were on episode 6. If I'll put that in the show notes as well. People can go back and check out the previous episode,
That was a lot of fun for sure.
which was kind of raw at the moment, but yeah, I can't remember if we asked you these same questions or not. So I apologize if I'm asking
no, that's
some
cool, man.
some similar questions. But so you said self-taught. Where did you? I mean, did you have influences that made you pick up that kind of? I called it like a flamingo style of playing, right? Spanish kind of.
Well, I don't know that I had any influences directly that helped me pick that up. I remember seeing some videos of a guy named Andy McKee on YouTube, and he was real pioneer-like in that I had never seen it before. Someone knocking on the body of a guitar, unless it were like flamenco music, Mexican music or something like that. But after a while, after I started kind of honing into it, I realized that over the last maybe 40, 50 years, there really have been a lot of guitarists who have approached that, the acoustic the very same way. And maybe without vocals. I think that's something that's pretty unique to sing and to try these styles. But yeah, there's a guy named John Gom that is an extreme influence to me. Like I would love to play like he plays. He can do all these things at once, and weird timings and weird structures, and not even sure where he's from. I know he's a music teacher. I read a little bit about it, so it made a lot of sense. But yeah, no direct influences aside from Pink Floyd, John Martin, Led Zeppelin. Not John Martin from Coastal Congress.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow, that's a big shout out.
Big shout out, buddy. Yeah.
But he does play, right?
Yeah, of course he plays. Yeah. In fact, while we're on that subject, I'm going to be publishing some of his works. I have some recordings of him where they're wonderful. You can hear everything just very well, and I know that he wants to publish and copyright some of those works so that his loved ones in the community can hear it. So we'll be doing that this year as well, which would be pretty cool.
Very nice.
But anyway, yeah, those are the sorts of influence I have: Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, and this John Martin guy. Or the other John Martin guy. This just got confusing, so I'm going to stop focusing on John Martin.
All right. Yeah. Very cool. What else was I going to ask you? I had some stuff written down. Usually I pull it up on my computer, but I don't have that option at the moment. But I think I was going to talk...
we're in the sticks.
We're in the sticks in a van.
Ain't got no Wi-Fi's.
Right, I couldn't get hooked up for some reason. But I wrote something down. What was that? Make sure I touch on everything. We talked about the EP, we talked about open mics, we talked about the news, the van, conspiracy theories.
Man, what a jump. It's like, okay, so I heard you had an album, you do some open mics and stuff, you know.
Right, let's switch gears.
I don't know, you can't just say the word conspiracy theories and expect something. I mean, that's an enormous, rabbit hole. What do you want to know? What do you want to hear?
Well, I mean, what's your latest thing that you're on right now? Anything?
So as concluded, or... I like to read just things. I suffer from inquisition or intrigue, and so I like to dig and pry, not in people, but in ideas. It's one of my favorite passions, actually. I could care less what you ate for dinner for the most part, but if I could figure out sort of like where your head's at or how you're applying your mind to reality, I'd really dig the idea of that. As far as conspiracy theories go, though, man, I don't know. That's a weird thing
it's a wide open
shake
question,
up a soda can and be like, do you think it'll...
Yeah. All right. Well, I just thought I'd try.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are lots of things to talk about. And last time you asked, I know I brought up technology and said that was something I think that people should pay attention to. And maybe that's another thing to just hint at. You know, I'm surrounded now in my van.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a hard thing for you, right? Because you have to be into technology at this point. We don't have to, but...
You know, I fought so much with the idea of fearing technology, and it overwhelmed me because technology isn't going anywhere. And while I may be one person who had apprehension about it, there are tons of people who are motivated to have its back, of course. And so what I'm doing now in some regard is embracing it enough to help others and to utilize my passions and the things I want to do to help others, which is why I feel like I really don't like getting online and doing my own social media and letting you know about Josh Jarman and stuff like that. I have to let you know that I'm playing in all these places so that you show up. But if I can do it for someone else, I feel like this excitement. I feel like I really want to, I can build this person up even if it's the cost of my having used this thing.
Right, and that's kind of the same boat I'm in.
You know, and that's a good way, I think, of using something that isn't going anywhere. And I think it's pretty obvious that this thing isn't going anywhere. So it's either going to, either we can use it and attribute it to our tool shed. Use technology to spread our ideals or our arts with one another, so that we can build quality of mind, or we can allow it to, strip us of quality of mind and drive us further away from one another. I think that that's very potential, and maybe we aren't talking about it enough.
Yeah, well, no, it's definitely already driven us apart from each other. I mean, you feel like you're closer to everybody because you can just reach out to everybody at any second, but really you're not. You're more separated than ever, I think.
Your thoughts may be close, like you can share your words with someone, but I think that emotionally speaking, something new is happening. Like, we don't necessarily know how to vibe with one another, if I'm going to use some hippie words, but vibe with one another anymore like we did on some sort of an emotional or energetic level. I guess it's not conspiratorial, it's just the way that things are going and the way that things are, and I think we all hear the blues on the radio. We all hear that song being sung,
Yeah. Well, I think it's almost a facade at some points too, where if you see somebody in person, you can get a feel for the most part of where they're at, where their headspace is, where they are emotionally, just from body language and their voice, everything. But when you're online, I mean, you got so many people out there just posting selfies of themselves, with a big smile on their face, them and their boyfriend, their husband, their girlfriend, whatever, and they're the most miserable people you could ever meet. But online, they put out this facade. They want everybody to think that their life is perfect and that they're happy and that everything is going great, when in reality it's not. And you got a few people, underliers, that are out there saying, "Oh, my life sucks, I want to kill myself." But for the most part, everybody's trying to be all this happy, chipper thing.
You can be exactly who you want to be, or who you think you want to be. And
right.
I think that exploiting that would be that's what I'm trying to do with my business, is exploit the fact that you can appear. Like say you're a young songwriter, you have some really quality music, you got a couple good recordings, and you really just need help making your appearance that of someone who is desirable in that business. So if online, the great exception is that a person of poverty can make themselves appear like they are of equal status as someone else. And it isn't a lie, it's just an appearance. And if the person who is a viewer happens to view you as, of a higher class than you are, then maybe that works to your advantage. And if, I can take a business like this and make my profile or my page look professional, and then a young songwriter is attributing their name to it, it helps their image to be boosted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's a double-edged sword, man. Like you were saying, it's interesting because someone can, like in the case of dating apps, I hear a lot about dating apps, and I guess in that case, people could be putting on a facade, telling you they're one way when truly they're not anything like that. You won't know until you meet them.
Every story I've ever heard, and I did online dating when I got divorced on Match.com for quite a while. Met quite a few people, and no one was as they were or as they seemed online.
Because
not one person.
There's an enchantment that takes place through that screen, no matter what, whether the person meant to do it or not. But the idea for an artist is the opposite, in that if someone hires a musician because they have 10,000 followers, 50,000 followers, so on and so forth. You can see I'm cutting myself into a humble state there. It's like, if you have that many followers and you show up for a gig, and there are people there, and they're starry-eyed because they know your image to be this thing you've presented to them. You know what I mean? Then it just kind of it's like that fake it till you make it thing, but using your entire identity. I don't know how to describe it. But I think that that's an advantage, especially for the creative artists, and is something that we can take advantage of at the modern time. We can just sort of make yourself, if you're a business owner, make yourself, stay true to who you are, but make yourself seem professional. Use your resources and your tools.
Sure.
I play an acoustic guitar, but it's a nice acoustic guitar. I mean, you use the tools that are at your disposal to appear the way you think you want to be viewed. That's the end of my tongue roll.
Now, how do we let's go off on this. How do we get away with calling that an acoustic guitar when it plugs in? How does that happen?
It's a hybrid, is what it is, man. It's a hybrid guitar.
But I mean, there is an electric guitar and there's an acoustic guitar, but both of them are able to be plugged in now. It's weird. But
the idea is that an electric guitar, if you take the pickups out of it, is going to make very little to no sound. So it does not have an acoustic property very much.
Right,
I
you
mean,
can't go both ways.
arguably, yes, you can hear it, but it isn't an amplified sound. Whereas if I pull the pickup out of this, I can still play it with the same resonance as an unplugged acoustic electric guitar.
Right.
You know, but yeah, you're right. Ultimately, it's a hybrid. So it's kind of a weird thought, and my mind's tumbling down some sort of organic technological rabbit hole right now, just based on that. But
Yeah.
I consider myself an organic instrumentalist or an organic songwriter, and then I don't use the loop pedal and I don't use all those things. But ultimately, yeah, I'm still some sort of android. I'm still playing an electric guitar through an amp. I've got modulation devices to some degree on my mixer. Yeah, it's a weird. That's kind of tricky.
Yeah. Here's another question for you. What's the most favorite place you ever played? What's your favorite venue?
I really like outdoor venues a whole lot. That's my jam. If I can play outside with like in the mist on a full moon, that's like my whole thing. But any place that offers
So you don't mind the freedom of outdoors where that sound just carries. You don't have to be boxed into a nice acoustic and cushioned and soundproofed.
Those things are nice. They can be intimidating too, those acoustic rooms. There's things built that way. But outdoors is humbling because you have to be somewhere between dynamic and loud. Like, it's hard to describe maybe if you're not a musician or an audio person, but you can play to the room. And when you're outdoors, you have to play to the moment. You have to play to like everything that's going on, where the trees are, and if people are chatty, and lots of stuff. But having grown up in the country, I did a lot of my playing outdoors anyhow. And so when I get to play for others outdoors, I can kind of act like I'm in the comfort of that same space, just in the company of new people. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So do we answer that question? I mean, just outdoors in general then?
Yeah,
so
outdoors.
You don't have a favorite outdoor venue that you've played or that you
my
would like to continue playing at?
One of my favorite local venues, man, is just Coastal Coffee Roasters. Mostly because it can be half outdoor. You have that gate you can open up and stuff. But a lot of really great people meet there and can be found in one space. So
yeah,
I like that. It offers several things to different people. But other than that, I played at Allendale Green. That was an awesome experience. What Eddie White does there, man, is just...
I didn't know you played out there.
Yeah, that was... I had the opportunity to play with Chris Roberts out there, and we sort of did like a song-for-song songwriter thing. He played one, I played one, yada yada. But the guy, Eddie White, who runs Allendale Green, is totally like dedicated to helping that music community, and if he's able to take a break from that now, it's because he's accumulated a team of people who have brought this dream into fruition or keeping it going. But
right.
Man, they got like wood-fired pizza you get to smell while you sing the blues, and you get like all these people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If I was going to pick an outdoor venue here in the Low Country, you know, I'm not talking across the country or whatever,
Yeah.
but I would pick Allendale Green for sure as an outdoor venue. It's the best spot out there, and I would probably say the Poorhouse would be my indoor spot as far as sound and lighting, and just they do a great job over there.
It's so cool, man. They actually have a sound guy who's active, and they have quality stuff. I think it was like QSC speakers and stuff. But another cool thing about the Allendale Gang is I'll say 2017, I was invited out to the Swamp Sessions, they call it, the Allendale Swamp Sessions. And it was a solar-powered studio out in the middle of the woods, and I got to go out there with like 5 other songwriters and play really random music. Just sitting out in the woods, just outdoors. It was like the most beautiful, perfect thing.
Yeah.
And got to know some cool people. So again, that's just an example of what people like Eddie White are bringing to the music community in the Low Country, South Carolina. Just
Right.
to name a few Swamp Sessions. I got pictures and trying to get some recordings from that. Never saw those archived sounds. I'd like to release them.
Yeah. Any plans to play Allendale anytime soon? I mean, do you still keep in touch with Eddie? Can you just jump in there if you wanted to?
I don't know that I'm that tight-knit with this community, but I'd like to be. I mean, I'd like the opportunity to open for some people who are touring through. I like to consider myself being just a strong opening act at the very least. I haven't had very many headlining opportunities quite yet, but I'm trying definitely to wean away from the bar scene, and I'd love to play more places like Allendale Green. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I know Fleming just headlined out there a few weeks ago, and it was phenomenal, fantastic, and he was able to get a friend of his that was in town on the bill as well to play. I think he played 3 songs or something, but We should try and hook up with that guy.
Yeah, man, Fleming, you dropped that name. Fleming Moore does a whole lot for the Somerville community too. He's out there always just pumping, doing open jams, and
he's working hard, putting money,
putting together those amphitheaters, and you work together for whatever money you get, and the rest goes towards the community and give it back, dude. And it's really cool. I missed that show he had at the All Dog Green. I bet that was a good one.
It was fantastic. It was really good. I'm gonna be honest. The drive out there sucks, and the drive back sucks even more. But
once you
get there, it's a destination for sure.
It's worth it. And sometimes that's you almost wish you can camp out at some of those spots just so you don't have to have that late night drive back. They should
do like a Friday, Saturday, and have an overnight. We were going to do that out of Blackwater. When we were trying to generate business out there at Blackwater. The next venue or the next event we were going to put together was a camping event where we have a whole weekend of music out there. But
so I guess Eddie White, if you're listening, camp your space.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it. Man.
Sell some spots out there in the parking lot.
That's the thing. Sell the spots. You can limit however many you have and try to keep it cool. But I think that community cares enough about one another and the music that maybe you wouldn't even have to worry so much about the destruction of the place. People suck. People ruin that shit all the time, man. There are great opportunities and people leave their crappy cigarette butts and shit everywhere.
Yep.
I was that guy once, man, and you don't realize the damage you do just to the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's like Woodstock all over, right? You're leaving cars and sleeping bags and tents and you leave everything.
You remember, what was it? Woodstock 2000 was the last one, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember watching that? Did you watch that on television? I was a child, man. At 2000, I was 10 years old, so maybe 11. But I remember watching all these bands, most of them perform naked because that's what you do at Woodstock 2000, I guess. But at the end, they just lit shit on fire and, like, kicking cars over. And
it's like a big riot at the end.
I mean, I guess music definitely makes you feel some stuff, but come on, man.
Yeah, you got some angst that you get out, right? But that's it's a little excessive.
I hope the song I play for you shortly doesn't make you want to flip cars over. I got too many of them around.
Right, we're going to flip this van over and we're done.
Right on its side. I think I can stand up in it this way, huh?
Yeah, well, it looks about the same, actually, I think. Might be an illusion.
So where'd you pick these up at?
Harris Teeter.
Harris Teeter, looking out. I love that these grocery stores are reaching out to the more off-brand beers and stuff. There was such a long time where I seemed like we were limited to, like, Busch Light or those sort of Keystone Lager.
Yeah. Harris Teeter does a good job. I think they're better than Publix, but Lowe's Foods over there in Oak Brook, they do better. I think they have a better beer selection than both of those combined. So, and then you also have a beer den inside the store. You can drink and shop at the same time. So
what?
You didn't know that?
Hell no.
Yeah, that's where Caleb and I worked for quite a while.
Dude, I don't mean to be this popular. I'm usually not this popular.
No, that's fine.
I'm gonna pick a more pleasing ringtone. I'll use this as sort of a learning experience.
Yeah, we both opened that store back in December and worked in the beer den. 8 taps on the wall. You got beer, you got wine. You can order a drink, 2 drinks minimum or maximum. Not minimum, because it is a grocery store. It's not a bar. So 2 drinks you can sip and shop.
Sip and shop, man.
Yeah, and this brought me to something else I want to mention. Caleb Choir, as a matter of fact, I saw your wallpaper there on your phone. So he made the artwork for your album, correct?
Yeah, Caleb Choir actually did the artwork for both of my main original music releases. The first being Mud in 2016, and the second being Wait, October this year. And so he's just like so trustworthy to turn to because he's the only guy in town I know who does watercolor, acrylic, things like that, in a soft style that's somehow like, I don't know. He's got this way of being soft but edgy and dark in his artwork, and I dig it a lot. So he does really great work. I always try to reach out to him, and of course, help support his business when he does design and stuff. I think you can find him at CQ Works. Yeah, definitely look up Caleb Choir, especially if you're in the Somerville area. I know he's done my cover art. He's done one for Clayton Lewis. He did his recent
Clayton Lewis. He did some stuff for Ron Daniel.
Yeah, definitely.
Quite a few musicians he's getting involved with, yeah.
And I'm starting to put together like a Black Book team of people that I use for my own work. Of course, like the Caleb Choir for the design and John Baldwin for the song accompaniment and stuff like that. But when I talk about my business, Wings Back Entertainment, that's a lot of what I'm trying to introduce into other songwriters, is bringing them to these people who I've met, and allowing them to make the same friends I have, because you never know, man. I mean, John Baldwin might hear so and so and be like, "Oh, this is what I've been waiting on," and it becomes this big thing. And you know, I think that it ultimately, it's enough satisfaction for me to just know that I maybe was helping someone just through being inspired or motivated to do their thing. You know.
And I want to correct that too. So Caleb didn't do the artwork for Ron Daniels' album. Richard Mallet Photography did all the photography for that album.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Rankin's wife, I can't remember her name.
Lori Rankin.
Lori, she did some artwork for it, for one of the songs on there as well.
Yeah, she drew a beautiful like a
train station.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And then Caleb, I think, just did the arrangement of the art for the CD insert, I think is what he did. So.
And you know, I've worked with both of those people as well. Lori Rankin did one of my first logos. I have a monarch here that I have on my arm that Lori Rankin rendered as a logo for me in probably 2016. And you know, it's very cool. What was it? Richard Mallet did the photography in some of my shoots that I have. I use those photos openly online. He's a great photographer out of Somerville and is in fact connected to Coastal Coffee Roasters, the place I quote as being one of my favorite in the area.
He's actually the coffee roaster.
He is the coffee roaster.
The Roast Master General is what I call him.
Roast Master General. And you know, I've even deducted that roaster is a D sharp. I can play to it a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's running during our open mic and we just have to make do.
That's true. It does run sometimes, doesn't it? And those late night roasting efforts when Richard kind of gets distracted and has to do late night coffee roasting because he didn't get it done during the day.
Boy, works his butt off, man.
Oh, he does.
That place, I tell you.
But he plays his butt off as well. That
Man,
dude's always somewhere.
I'm a coffee drinker, man, so I have to give like some sort of a shameless promotion to Coastal Coffee Roasters for keeping it real. I ran out of Coastal Coffee recently, and I had to get some like Folgers, and man, it makes you feel,
Folgers.
It makes you feel weird and like just agitated and strange, and so yeah, Coastal Coffee Roasters. If you're in Somerville,
it's definitely different. You know, I've worked there for a long time as well, over a year, and now that I don't work there that often, I go get coffee other places that are closer to me, and when I come back to Coastal Coffee, I can tell a huge difference in the quality of their coffee.
At the time of this show, are you working there at all now or no?
No, not working there at all. I'm thinking about maybe trying to go back a couple of days a week, but at the time when I started Homegrown, the schedules were just, it was too much to balance, and
I mean, I don't know
try and take care of both of them, so I had to just do one thing. And
I was doing the maintenance thing there for a long time, and I absolutely love it. I just had a whole lot going on, had to take a step back too. So if I went back, I'd have to go with my tail between my legs, I think.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
me too. I think.
Hey man, you know I like this place.
Yeah. And who knows? They might have replaced both of us with somebody 10 times better. Who knows?
Dude, that place deserves it though, man. And once they get the right team together, and they've had it several times, but I could see them expanding and doing some pretty cool things in the Low Country. I know they've done it for music, and hope they continue to do so.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, we had a fantastic show there this past Saturday night. They did their first annual Halloween extravaganza. I don't remember what the name of it was.
Was it a costume gig?
Yeah, not everybody. I mean, there was quite a few costume people there. I mean, it was a costume contest, so they did some raffles. They gave away some gift certificates and some coffee mugs and some beans and stuff like that. So they had about 5 different giveaways. Blue Spear played, Scotty Oliver Band as well, you know, combined with Tommy Altair becomes Blue Spear. So they played, had it all decorated out, Halloween style. Had a fog machine that wasn't working very well, but they were trying to do some fog and stuff too, and really cool lighting. I mean, it was a fantastic show. I got some great videos, some great photography from it as well.
That's cool,
to promote those guys. They're going places, man. They're doing some good things.
Blue Sphere.
Yeah, this has been their year, man. They've kind of really hit the scene.
That's what it takes, man. It's that one year you feel motivated enough to just put your neck out there, man. It really does give back. You see what you put out there back, for sure. And you said fog machine, and it brought me to this thought that at a show recently I played with a band called Adam and Elsewhere, another Low Country band. This guy had his vape pen, like one of those huge cloud makers, and he was our fog machine. It was so great. He just sat in the front row, man, and just blew it onto the ground. And
yeah, because I'm sure there was plenty of vapors there. We probably should have just done that.
He was pleased. Better. He was pleased and very content.
Yeah. I don't know why it wasn't working. I have no idea if it was an old machine or they just didn't have the right product in there or it wasn't plugged in. I don't know what the problem was. But at the very end of the show, like the last 5 minutes, we got a few puffs of smoke off of this, off of this machine.
Yeah, it should have had a vape pen. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, where was it that you just said, Oh, that thought's gone. We'll just roll with that.
What was it? What were we talking about?
Is it gone completely? Or are we just going to show off that we have no idea what's happening? What is happening?
No, we were talking about Coastal Coffee Roasters and the show and the smoke machine.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't be there because I was at Wine and Tapas. And that's down the road in downtown Somerville. I think that's...
Yeah, they had a Halloween bash thing going on that night as well.
Yeah. They were everywhere. And no, the Ice House had something recently, too. And again, if you're a Somerville local, these are all places that are really great to check out. They do live music, and a lot of them have open mics, open jams. So if you're a musician, you can go out there. But the Ice House had a costume party, I think that same day or the other day.
Yeah.
And man, there were some crazy looking individuals there. I went there and was just like, I have drank too much already for this, man.
The costumes are outrageous right now.
It's pretty wild. I did not participate. I guess I was just banking on being ugly enough as it is in some way. So it was a freaking day.
I didn't either. I'm working at Homegrown tomorrow. I'm supposed to be hosting or not hosting, but judging the costume contest there tomorrow night. So
nice.
I'm trying to decide if I'm going to wear something or just be a judge. I don't know.
Just be a judge.
The only costume I have is a Batman costume, so I got to have this big cowl on and try and serve beer and hear people order beer. I don't know.
I'm serious. Wear a judge mask or something, like a judge hair wig. Just pull that off and walk around with a gavel and be like, "I am he who will tell."
Or a referee outfit or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Figure something out.
That's worth it. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I did say online I was going to be judge, jury, and executioner, so I could dress up as any one of those, I guess.
All of those things, I guess. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, man, my imagination.
Well, look here, man. Unless you got anything else you want to bring up or talk about or promote or anything like that, but we're about an hour in right now. The camera is kind of iffy, whether it lasts an hour and 20 minutes to an hour and 50 minutes on that one battery run, so...
Yeah. Well, why don't I play you a song or something? You into that?
Yeah, I think we should maybe hear a couple tunes from the new EP and...
Yeah, let's do that.
Or any song, it doesn't really matter. I know one that I was digging off of the new album for sure was, I think it's called Insist.
Yeah. That song is a really emotional song and is unlike some of my other music in that I actually allow my voice to break up and kind of holler a little bit, scream some, but... I wanted to put that on this EP because it had a lot to do with the overall story I was trying to convey, what with waiting on something. That's a pretty cool song, but let's see.
Yeah, and waiting on something. So the art that we got on the album there with the chair and the checkered floor and a couple pillars there, so that's just what's the story behind that? I mean, what does that convey? I mean, I know it's what you're waiting in that chair probably for something, right? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that, ultimately...
Did you have that idea, or did you just give that to Caleb and say, hey, this is what I want, put it together?
It was certainly something that was in my mind's eye, more or less, and this is the sound of tuning, the tuning song. I don't know who copyrighted the song, but anyway. That artwork sort of came to me one day, and I just thought that was the most perfect thing, because the waiting, I guess, without giving, wearing all my cards on my sleeve, more or less, but waiting is inspired by my wait for perhaps love or a sense of contentment. Seems odd to wait for such a thing because waiting, implies that it's a choice, but it is, and that cover art represents a whole lot. And who am I to tell you what you see? But 2 pillars for strength, black and white for the this and that of life. The back and forth, the to and fro, and the chair, a modest-looking chair, because sometimes you have to sit and watch all of those things take place that are so back and forth or black and white in life, and just wait until your time. So I guess that's it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Man. So I really don't understand these mute buttons, man. Before I get started,
I don't know either.
It's bewildering me.
We were messing with the board over here, the Tone Master, the Bose, and didn't unmute either one of these
mics. It says we're not even working.
I mean, we're picking up on here. I don't know. It's going to be interesting how it picks up, but yeah, the life of a podcaster. It's always something.
All right, so this song's called Insist. I'll go ahead and start with that one, and we'll close off with a song called Middle. I'll tell you a little bit about that one.
All right.
going to edit that out. We'll just be real. Let's see. Hold on. Let me capo right. This mistake brought to you by Shub Capos. Alright. Part of being drunk on the job.
I like it. It's human.
It is.
That I have ever known, narrow path I paved that I could roam, leads me nowhere. Oh, I so wanna keep her near, though these words they shout so clearly, I must go. She already knows. She already knows. And I don't wanna die alone. Lonely are the only roads that I have ever roamed. A narrow path I paved, I could roam. It leads me nowhere. Though I so wanna keep her near, though these words they scream so clearly, I must go. See her face, she's right in front of me. To hide away, find another way to see her face. She's right in front of me. She's right in front of me. Right in front of me. She's right in front of me. Oh, it's time to atone. Oh, it's time to atone. Oh, it's time to atone. Oh, it's time to
That song's called Insist.
Man, that sounded fantastic.
Thanks, man. Thanks for pardoning with my little technical difficulty there in the beginning, of
Nah,
course.
come on, man. The amount of technical difficulties I have on this podcast.
Oh, man. It happens, man.
It's got to be better than the first podcast we did together, I think. But
Again, it's part of being Part of being human, even if you are playing with hybrid toys, right?
Right. You can have all the technology in the world, but a human still has to operate it.
With enough time, man, anybody can make a perfect album, you know. But
Yeah.
Anyway, that song's called "Insist," and it was sort of inspired by, at least in my own mind, doing something that, well, you work for a long time to achieve something, and then you worry that perhaps you have to give that thing up, you know.
Yeah.
So sometimes you never know what it is that you end up with, even if you're too busy enjoying what you have at the time. I don't know, just words.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's available on Wait, which I released October 2018, and you can find them on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Napster, Bandcamp.
Yeah. Sounds fantastic on the
All
album.
those things, man. Thank you.
A lot of different elements in that one.
Yeah, very dramatic. Very
Yeah.
dramatic, yeah. So, and I think that if you're interested, man, I got one more or whatever you have time for. And
Yeah, let's do one more.
yeah, we'll do one more. I'm going to play a song called Middle. It's the one I'm actually releasing a music video. It's the first music video I've ever done, which is actually created to be a music video, not just me sitting in front of a couch playing some music. But
Right.
my friend Josh at Zeppelin Studios, another videography company in Charleston area, we actually went out to Don's Car Crushing, the place I got this very van, so we'll bring this full circle before we close out. But the place I got this van, we had the place when they were closed at our disposal. We had a drone and did some music video work, and I'm really looking forward to releasing that soon. Of course, this will be the acoustic version of the song in the video, which includes John Baldwin playing like trumpets and trombones and all sorts of stuff. It sounds like I have a whole orchestra with me, but
Very nice.
yeah, man, this song's called Middle.
I know that when I wake up, I'm bound to face the world. I hold on to the prison, baby, or they'll throw me to the wolves. I'm a middleman, mister. They're gonna let me through the walls. I'm a friend to every prisoner in the world that blames them all. Glad to be a visitor, abiding by the law. But I'd still be in shackles, baby, if I followed them all. I'm a middleman, mister. They're gonna let me through the walls. I've been fighting a war with sound waves since I could barely crawl. Sometimes I get to wondering just where it all went wrong. Still I hear those same blues songs, 'cause I know they're gonna let me through the walls. I've been fighting a war with sound, babe, since I could barely crawl.
Nice.
Thanks, man. The song's called Middle.
Very awesome.
I appreciate you coming all the way out to my space, man, for
Yeah,
this.
man. This is a nice little journey. It's kind of way out here in the, in the
It
middle
sure
of
is,
nowhere.
man.
There wasn't anything that I passed on the way here that I think I would frequent,
You know, and
except the gas station that I stopped at briefly.
they have really good chicken there.
Do they?
Really good
At the
chicken
Shell?
there. At the Shell gas
Yeah.
station, I'm telling you, man, it's those hidden gems. But yeah, I hope that this van takes me to places a little more inconspicuous than this even. So, you know, just
Right.
find myself in the middle of a forest or mountain somewhere.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting me come out and share your electricity and set everything up, and I hope it turns out all right. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it very much.
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yes, sir.
And to everyone else, talk to you soon.